Hello boys and girls, Quarantine Haircut here, and today we're gonna do a slightly different video. Yeah, I said today because it's daylight again, and today I want to take a small break from modeling, and instead I'd like to show you my workbench. It's been one of the more, requested videos, so I thought, why not? But before we get to it, I'd like to address one thing, because I'm sure a lot of you will notice it, and that's this super awkward tan on my hands. That's what happens when you spend all your time outside riding a mountain bike in riding gloves, so... yeah. Okay, so with that being said, my friends, let's take a look. Okay, so as you can see, I don't have one workbench, but instead two. And that's because I like to build my models on this one and paint them on this one. I like to keep things separated. It's more clean and, more tidy. I like my tidiness. So I'd say let's take a look at this one first. Yeah, by the way, this is my filming setup. So my DSLR camera and 3 studio softboxes. I used IKEA lamps before, but they weren't really suitable for filming because regular lamp is basically like a spotlight, while a softbox is more like a floodlight. So yeah, it's better lighting for when you're trying to film something. Okay, so let's take a look. First thing you might notice is a fly trap. And that's because it's summer and I like to work in the evening, night shift and everything. And that means a lot of these, tiny bugs, and light attracts them. And it's super annoying, so yeah, I'm trying to fix this problem with fly traps. Moving on to something more interesting, yeah, this is where all the stuff happens. Yeah, just a regular sheet of white paper. Actually, I have this brand new beautiful cutting mat, thanks Tancraft. And yeah, it's not gonna be too visible, but now you know it's there. So, let's take a look at these drawers. So, here is a bunch of garbage basically. Yeah, modeling putty, another modeling putty, glues, putty tray, sanding sticks, a straight edge, bunch of lighters in case I need to set something on fire. I didn't even know I had these. Yeah, well, good to know. So yeah, that's basically it for this one. Here I have those, more expensive tools. So these super nice carving chisels, RP Tools punch and die tool. This is the hex one. Photo edge bending tool, very nice, from Master Tools. The standard punch and die for circular shapes, and also all the punch and die bits. Also this grab handle bending tool. I don't really like it, to be honest. I used it on like a couple of times. And yeah, those hammers that come with the punch and die tools, Zimmerit applicators. That's pretty much it. Here are the more common things that I use on a regular basis, on a more regular basis. So yeah, except this old chisel, yeah. But for example, Tamiya scribing tool, scissors, copper wires, blade handles, yeah, razor saw, spare blades, this tube cutting thing, which I never used. Yeah, 90-degree straight edge. That's pretty much it. Metal files, nothing special. Drill bits. Yeah, a bunch of different drill bits. These cutting things, different burrs. Yeah, stuff like that. Also more junk here, just old brushes, toothbrushes. Here's my cheapo bootleg Dremel tool. It cost like 15 euros, pretty neat. Magic sculpt, soldering fluids, sanding sponges, Tamiya epoxy putty, which is empty. Yeah, and more cheap chisels, tweezers, pliers, more tweezers, all these custom weld texturing tools, anti-slip paste, which I never used so far. Also these cool silicone boot stamps from caliber 35. I think it's really hard to get these anymore, but I think there are other offerings on the market, so yeah. Oops. Anyway, yeah, blue tack, evergreen, styrene, also sculpting brushes, some metal tubes, CA activator, some laser cut leaves, drill bits. I use these all the time. Drill bit handle, another toothbrush. Also, these are 3D prints, the successful ones, yeah, which are kinda, you know, usable. Also some experimental ones like this egg, this chess piece, the foundry marks from Archer, and yeah, just more garbage pen, and yeah, these splatter stencils. So yeah, that's pretty much it from here. Let's take a look down here. So garbage bin, totally off-brand, not ammo or AK. And there's more junk here. So basically sandpapers, a few styrene sheets, tin foil, a respirator. Here, super glues, lead wires, more super glue, debonder, even more super glue. Also this copper sheet, this is probably gonna last me like forever. And what else? Yeah, a few styrene profiles and old, not used, mind you, hypodermic needles. They are pretty useful when you need to make something like a, you know, machine gun barrel or stuff like that. Here, the chopper, double-sided tape for some reason. Also this big punch and die set, pipe wrench, hammer, always comes in handy. Baby powder when I'm, you know, sculpting tarps from epoxy putty. Also gauze for the occasional masking net. And yeah, a bunch of other junk. And here more random stuff. These dry transfers from Wilder. I haven't used these like ever, except this one. These factory markings, which I used on my mouse. More wires, good to know. Also these rubberized magnetic sheets. They are perfect when you're making one of those, you know, Yugoslavian tanks with rubber armor. And some real earth, super thin tubing. And yeah, this massive coil from an old, you know, electric motor. Baking soda for some reason, old soldering iron, nothing special really. So yeah, I'm gonna clean this all up and we'll take a look at the second workbench. Okay, so I moved the lamps here so we can see better. And yeah, by the way, this one, when I'm painting, I'm just gonna turn this around and I have all of them here. Also the camera from this place, I'm gonna move it here. So yeah, that's how I switch, you know, paint working positions. Anyway, so let's take a look at this. The old background from the Sherman vignette video. I still didn't put it aside. Yeah, so airbrush, H&S Evolution, pretty okay, still holds up. Also 3D printed stand. Also my very crappy paint brushes. Also in a 3D printed stand. Oh, also a screwdriver. Yeah, you never know. So yeah, nothing fancy to be honest. And yeah, pigment texture, lacquer thinner, enamel thinner, toilet paper. That's actually something very handy to have. You know, it's small, always at hand. And when you're painting, you just have a palette, piece of toilet paper underneath. So yeah, bunch of thinners like Tamiya, Mr. Hobby, empty, but I already ordered a new one. Enamel thinner, which I don't use because I prefer this one. It's not a model specific thinner, but it's much better, obviously cheaper. And yeah, light color thinner, ammo thinner, Vallejo airbrush cleaner, Mr. metal primer, VMS varnish, one retarder, another retarder, oil expert, yeah, some basic stuff basically. So yeah, the main palette that you know from my videos, a wet palette from the last week's video, also this one, it's pretty shallow, so also bent, so I don't use it, but you know, better to have it than not. And paints, yeah, quite a lot of paints. So basically, yeah, this counterweight is gonna be in our way, but yeah. So this is basically my whole weathering rack. A lot of Wilder pigments, which I'm probably not gonna use ever because, as you know, I don't use pigments. Yeah, gravel and sand fixer. There's actually another one. Some fancy stuff like these snow sprinkles. I didn't use them yet. These enamel mud tones from Ammo. Totally love them. Also my beloved textured earth. More pigments that I'm not gonna use. Aqualine. Also here, full range. Heavy chipping fluid from Ammo, from AK. Wet effects fluid. Some grease and oil effects from Wilder. Also enamel washes. Also my favorite two rust tones. And a bunch of MIG Productions filters. Here, these are the most common oil paints that I use, so I have them at hand. A bunch of Mr. Paint colors, decal setting solutions, some Tamiya paints, stuff I don't use. More Tamiya paints, a lot of Tamiya paints. As you can see, a lot of them are my own custom mixtures, but also stuff like custom pigment mixtures, plaster, sand, dishwashing soap, my Rainmarks mixtures, which I haven't used in a long time on the channel. Also some light color paints, the best rust set you can get, highly recommended. More Tamiya paints, some clear colors, also these clear ones from AK. These are much thicker than Tamiya, but both have their specific, you know, uses. Some varnishes, more varnishes, this nitro thinner, which I don't... This nitro thinner, which I don't even know what it does. Yeah, real color set for modern Russian vehicles. And here we have a lot of ammo paints, which I occasionally use, except this alien AK bottle. These AK colors, these are the old ones. I haven't used them in a long time, probably won't again. And Vallejo paints, which I use like all the time. Yeah, I really like them. So yeah, that's pretty much it here. And there's a bunch of more stuff down here. So this very basic and cheap air compressor. Basically, if you're, you know, on the market for an airbrush and compressor, basically what you're looking for is one with a air tank and moisture trap, and that's basically it. You're gonna be all set. This was like 100 euros, so pretty cheap. Yeah, this highly specialized tool. This is my heavy duty paint mixer. So, whoops. Yeah, here's a bunch of, you know, more oil paints, which I don't use as often. Mostly Wilder and oil brushers from Ammo, toothpicks, sponges, some airbrush cleaning supplies, Tamiya masking tape, the sculpting brush that I use for polishing, you know, metal surfaces, AK pencils, which I never used because, I don't know, it just doesn't really fit my needs. But I have them. Static grass, some natural scatter, real earth, grass tufts, a ton of blackening fluid from Wilder, also these ammo pastes, more Tamiya thinner, trademark blue gloves, this Mr. Paint masking putty, you know, for airbrushing, one-shot primers, Mr. Surfacer in a spray can, and actually a couple of these varnishes. I don't know, they're not very good, but I bought them, didn't like them, yeah, so they're here. Also a canister of distilled water. A bunch of figure painters said that distilled water is much better than tap water when you're trying to thin acrylic paints, but I don't know, I didn't really notice any difference, so yeah, it's there. And also a lot of stuff from VMS, which I have in a box. Yeah, track blackening solution, airbrush cleaner, paint remover, the smart chipping paint, a lot of pigments, all these different binders, yeah, the special paper, yeah, this is paper shaper. So yeah, I'll have to find some space for this because it's a lot of handy stuff here. So yeah, that was my working space. Probably the most frequently used phrase was "I don't use it anymore," and it makes me think maybe my workbench would deserve some kind of, you know, revision or something. But at the same time, you know, it's not like those paints and especially pigments are taking any space. But on the other hand, half of the stuff is probably long since dried up, especially those old acrylic paints and custom mixtures and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe sometime in the future. I'm not sure if it would make an interesting video, probably not, but I'll think about it. So yeah, if you're still watching, then I owe you a big thank you. Also a massive mad respect to my amazing patrons who make this weekly show possible. And if you'd like to support me a little more and in return get some nice exclusive stuff like almost daily photo updates from these two workbenches, you'd already know what I'm working on next. Also 1 week early ad-free videos, so you'd be able to watch the next episode with the new project. Also super nice, super mega HD brutal photos, which I don't have any to show you right now. And we could also get in touch through DMs, so if that's something you'd be interested in, don't be afraid to check it out. It all starts at only $1 a month, all the way up to $10 a month, so yeah. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to tell you, my friends, so thanks again for watching, make sure to have a great weekend, stay safe, keep building models, give the video a like if you liked it, or a dislike if you didn't like it, and I'll catch you mates in the next one. Cheers!